Black on World. What's up, sir?
How's it going, brother? How's it going?
Doing well, doing well. Look, this is an inside joke from the mastermind group. They talk about me and my background. Boy, you got a lot of your background. You know, I tell you, I cleaned up mine now.
Man, yeah, everything on the bookshelf are products from black-owned businesses because you know that's what my channel's all about.
Right.
But
yeah, so what do you have to say on the subject? And did I get anything wrong?
I would say that I agree. I think that one of our biggest issues is that we don't get to see other worlds. We don't get to see how other countries run. And it really does expand your mind. I remember first time I ever traveled outside of the country was to Spain my sophomore year in college for a study abroad program.
Okay.
And oh my gosh, just getting there and seeing how it is. First, everyone's just staring at me because not too many black men around there.
Right.
But at the same time, I got to see a whole different way of life, whereas they were so much more sociable and it was a much more relaxed style of life versus here in America where everything's it's all about work. You know,
right.
You live in the work, you work to live. Over there, it's more of a lifestyle where they can relax. Hey, I want to hang out with my friends. That was more of a priority than it was to make money.
Yes, I think you said something, and that's so awesome you brought that out, because I don't think people realize we're one of the very few countries that work 40 to 50 to 60 hours a week.
Oh yeah.
And we're only a country that's still working 6 days a week, where a lot of countries are only working 4 days a week.
Right.
You're absolutely right. I totally missed that. You're absolutely right. You have a lot of people who they're doing a lot of these arguments. I want your personal experience.
Well, most of the countries I've visited, they love black men. You know what I mean? Now, I'm not saying they're all quick to want to have a relationship and marry you.
Right.
But some of them, in some countries, it's more just right. So I was in, I was in Montenegro, and I remember there was a guy that actually would not let me go into a store because I needed to buy a tie. I was there for work. And I forgot to pack a tie. So I'm about to go inside the store. This man stops me at the door. He's like, no, you can't come in. I was like, what's going on? He said, it's closed. I can't do his accent. I don't know how to do
Right.
But I'm like, but he tells me that, and I'm like, I'm looking at the register, and I see people lined up waiting on him to let him in. And I asked him, are they racist here? What's the problem here? Do they think sometimes they get you confused with other blacks. They might think you're African or something, you know?
Right.
But turns out that it's not so much that they hate blacks, it's that the men there were jealous of their women loving black men so much.
Is it you use a nice word? You said exotic. And it's so funny to hear you say it, because I've never heard that put that way before. The same exoticness that, say, a woman would see a Spanish-speaking person who just happen to have that accent. Right. Or they look a certain type of a way. You know, like they'll say for us, you know, certain types of women look exotic to us, so they're more beautiful, more attractive. So what you're saying is that, you know, that black men in certain countries are the exotic type of men.
Yeah, definitely. I was in Japan. I remember this one girl that she wouldn't talk to me until she heard that I spoke good English. Like I spoke English like an American. Apparently, there's a lot of Nigerians that live in Japan as well. I didn't know that. That surprised the heck out of me. They take the jobs that a lot of people don't want over there. So one thing I found out is that Nigerians over there will pretend to be from America because the girls there only want to talk to Americans. So it's like, it's not even just they like you because of your skin. They like the fact that if you're a black American, that's an exotic thing to them. And yeah, I mean, everyone has exotics. I mean, it's, you know, here in America, if a woman's from Brazil, guys will be like, oh my God, that's so exotic, that's so hot, you know?
Right. Let me ask you this. One of the arguments online or that I'm constantly hearing is that women are only attracted to you because they're trying to get a green card. My experience was I didn't find everybody necessarily trying to run back to America. You know, like, hey, marry me, take me back to America. Because when I did, now this was in the military, when I did a tour in Bamberg, Germany, I met a lot of black men, older. Now I was young, so they probably been my age now, but they're probably in their 70s, 80s then. I met a lot of black men that did not come back to America. They stayed in Germany. Now, again, we're talking World War II, Korean War ages, but we're definitely talking World War II. They didn't come back. I met, growing up, black men that married a lot of Jews that was in these concentration camps. You know, so I saw a lot of stuff, but that's why it's like I kind of debunked the whole everybody trying to get a green card to come to America. But again, that's my experience. I don't try to push my experience on everybody. You know, I can only tell you my experience, what I went through, and then I sit down and I listen to other people's personal experiences and give them a chance to share their experiences. Is that one of your experiences, that although black men are exotic, are these women trying to leave their country to be with this exotic man?
I would say it depends on the country, honestly. You know,
Okay.
I hear that's a very popular thing in Thailand or something like that, where they want to get a green card, move over here, and get their family to move over here.
Right.
But I mean, like you mentioned the brothers in Germany, right? I don't think they really care much about getting over here. It's not really a life or death situation or it's not that big of a change in lifestyle, you know? So I would say, yeah, I can see that being more prevalent in more third world countries, but in more first world countries, no, they don't. It's not that big of a deal for them to want to get over here that much.
For the people that's listening, can you explain the difference between first world, third world? I'm not getting ready to put it up so everybody can see, but we tend to always scream first world, third world,
Right.
You know, and we don't realize that what was third world when I was growing up is first world now. You know what I'm saying? So
I see what you're
can you explain for the people to really get a better understanding, what does that really mean when we say this is a third world country versus a first world country?
How I like to define it is, it depends on the amenities. Is there running water? Is there piping? Is there electricity? Things like that. So if you're in first world countries like America, we got running water. If you want water, you could turn it on. It's right there.
Right.
Third world countries, they want water. It's a lot harder. They got to go grab it. They got to get a bucket, go down to the river, bring it home, boil it, make sure it's clean. And even then, they're still at risk, you know?
Right.
And then I called Montenegro more of a second world country, or a little in between, where they have the infrastructure, they have roads, they have that stuff, but it's just not well kept.
Okay, so they still got ways to go in the sense of the development of it. So they're in between. So they're still partly living in third, they're on that in between mark. They just haven't really hit the first.
Exactly. They got roads, but the roads are all cracked up and pieces missing, and in certain areas is like pretty much just done for. But yeah, that's how I like to define it. That's how I've always looked at it.
Okay, that makes sense. Now, how do you feel or think about some of the disparaging things, or you may have heard truthful things about what's being said online? Because I made it real clear. I don't hear these arguments amongst white people. I don't hear white women on TikTok, on Instagram, none of these social media sites telling white men not to get a passport. That really tells me there's some strong cultural naiveness happening. I just don't hear it. Now, maybe I ain't seen it, and somebody going to bring me 4 or 5 copies of white women telling white men not to get a passport. And this is where it hurts, because it's like, wait a minute. I know black women who was glad to go overseas, been overseas, famous black women. Everybody loved watching Tina Turner. She dipped overseas.
Yep. Nobody gives her any problems, right?
No problems. You know, one of the greatest poets who passed away never dated a black man, but we call her a great black poet, Maya Angelou. You know, so I'm confused. But hey, I guess that's another story for another time. But you know,
I mean, it's our culture. It really is our culture. I feel like there's no other community here that has the men and women within that same community button heads as much.